of this candidate forum for state representative in Stoughton precincts 1, 2A, 4A, 5, 7, and 8. That district also includes all of Canton and Avon. And welcome to our two candidates for this seat, current State Representative Bill Galvin and challenger Tamisha Civil, a Stoughton resident challenging for a second time. There's a race in the Democratic primary for state senator from our district, and we did invite Senator Walter Timilty and his challenger Kathleen Krogan-Camera. However, Senator Timilty's schedule was fully booked, and while his challenger had agreed to come, League of Women Voters policy does not allow a forum to be held with only one candidate present. For the final election in November, Stoughton's other state representative, Ted Phillips, has a Republican challenger, and we hope to do a forum for that race in October. We will announce the date later. The League is nonpartisan and committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion in principle and practice. These principles are central to the organization's current and future success and create a more perfect democracy. Here's the format for the forum tonight, which both candidates have received ahead of time. There will be 2 minutes each for opening and closing remarks and 1.5 minutes for responses to questions. Both candidates will be asked the same questions. None will be directed to only one candidate. The questions were not provided to the candidates ahead of time. The order for opening and closing and responding to questions was randomly selected. Questions were prepared by our league with input from the public. If time allows, we may be able to take questions from the Zoom audience. If not, any audience questions posted in the chat feature will be used after the forum, and responses will be posted on the league's website at lwvss.org. The moderator, time clock, and candidates will always be visible on screen. The time clock will change color when 15 seconds remain in the speaking period. When the candidate sees this, we ask that they please finish their sentence and end. The stop will show on the screen, and I will have to stop anyone still speaking at the end of that sentence. Rebuttals can be addressed by the candidates in their closing remarks. This forum is being taped and will play on Stoughton TV live and repeated as often as time allows before September 6th. To those who joined the Zoom tonight, we suggest using speaker view. Other than candidates and moderator, everyone should be muted throughout the whole forum. If you prefer not to be seen on screen now, or when the tape is played on Stoughton TV, stop your video as well. This is your choice. Now let's begin with opening remarks, and we're going to start with Tamisha Civil.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone for allowing me to be here today. My name is Tamisha Civil. I'm a mom. I'm an associate probation officer in Stoughton District Court, a legal advocate for domestic violence shelter, and an engaged community leader. I'm running because I want to make a positive change in our community. I brought active leadership as a private citizen, and I want to use the same approach as a state representative to fight for transparency, capping the cost of prescription drugs, fully funded schools, and clean environment, and working transportation, and more. I want to tell you a short story to illustrate why I believe I'm the best candidate for this race. At a recent forum, when Rep. Galvin and I were asked about recycling and reducing our reliance of single-use plastic, I spoke about my work in Stoughton and Canton Sustainable Energy Committee to make real-world improvements in our community. I talked about how we were able to successfully petition to stop grocery stores from using plastic bags in Stoughton. And we're currently looking to do so in many other communities. When Rep. Galvin had the chance to answer, he said, and I quoted what Tamisha said, "The truth is, I have a long record of getting things done in the community. When the pandemic hit, I helped start a food bank out in Avon to combat food insecurity in our region. As an associate probation officer, I work with our court system to keep our communities safe. I work to clean our green spaces, advocate for the rights of women and children, and I help victims with domestic violence navigate the criminal justice system to attain a safer life. Now I want to advocate for our district on Beacon Hill. The best way to get positive change is by electing people who don't just vote the right way, but also stand up and advocate for what we need. And I hope I can earn everyone's vote September 6th. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Civil. I'm going to just pause us because the timekeeper clock is not showing on my screen. Are you all seeing it? No. All right. So I think yours was about 2 minutes. I started timing it on my own when I realized the timekeeper clock was not there. I apologize. Robin, can you see if you can get the timekeeper clock up, please? We're going to pause for a second. And I apologize for the technical challenge.
Do you see it now?
No, we just see the logo.
Well, the logo's the clock until I help out this.
Okay, now we see it. All right, so why don't we restart it, because it didn't run for Tamisha, but I happen to have my own here that I started running when I realized it wasn't up. So okay, why don't you restart it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. Sorry for the pause. Bill Galvin, your turn.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Representative Bill Galvin, and I think what we are facing in the future are very difficult times. We're going to be going probably into a recession. It's very difficult political times, and I think you really need someone with experience and know how to get things done for the district. Now, in my career, I have worked in the public sector, I've worked in the municipal sector, I've worked in the private sector, and I think that round experience in all those different entities makes me more qualified, most qualified candidate in the race. And as far as what my opponent said about recycling, we just had probably the biggest recycling day in the district, both Avon, Canton, and Stoughton this Saturday. And we were taking in furniture, we were taking in electronics, we were taking in food, clothing. Mass Save was there, Eversource were there. But none of my opponents' committees or whatever she's involved with, sustainable committees, were even a part of it. They didn't call, it was well advertised. There was cards sent to everyone's household. It was all over Facebook and all the other websites. And they didn't bother. They were invisible during the entire event. And it was a shame because Representative Phillips, myself, Senator Feeney was there. We did it with the town of Canton, town of Stoughton, town of Avon. It was very well attended and very proud of the event. We took in a lot of food for the local food pantry, and I am out of time. Thank you.
Sorry, thank you. Now we're going to move to our questions. So our first question, we're going to start with Representative Galvin, and it is, do you favor same-day voter registration?
Same-day voter registration, I'm not opposed to it, but I know the town clerks have a problem with it. And so far, I don't think there has been an agreement between locally, the town clerks, and the Secretary of State. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm still open to the issue.
Okay, thanks. Robin, if you want to pause it, I think. Thanks. Okay, and now Tamisha Civil, same question. Do you favor same-day voter registration? Oh, you're muted. Thank you.
Apologize. Yes, I do. Voting is a right, and if we have the opportunity to allow people to vote the same day or to vote and have voter registration the same day, then it should be available to everyone.
Okay, great, thanks. Our next question is going to start with Tamisha Civil. In light of the Supreme Court ruling in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin, what changes should be made to the Massachusetts gun laws?
Well, what I can tell you is that I've been recognized as a Gun Sense by Mom Demands candidate this year. And we need common sense gun laws. We need to ban AR-15s. We need to ban guns that are meant for war out of our communities or out of the hands of people in general. We need gun license. We need gun laws that are going to have rigorous background checks on people and make sure that we have mental health background checks. And we need to make sure that we know who. It's easy to get a gun license, and it needs to be tougher for people to just go and get a class and get a certificate and apply for a gun license. So we need tougher gun laws and common sense gun laws so that we're not having any incidents like happened in other states where our schools are getting targeted and young kids are dying.
Thank you so much. Okay, same question, Representative Bill Galvin. You're muted again.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Massachusetts, we have probably the strongest gun laws in the nation. And when the United Supreme Court came down with their decision, we acted right away. We passed the bill, so we complied with the Supreme Court decision, and we actually made it stronger. So in Massachusetts, we've been on top of it, and we've been very proactive throughout. And we will continue because times change and you have to stay on top of things. Right now, we were passing legislation for ghost guns because the ghost guns are, you can't track them. So we're trying to deal with that. And it's an ongoing issue, and it's one that we have to keep on top of. So as your state representative, I will continue to work diligently on the issue. Thank you.
Thank you. So our next question is what is your opinion of Mcas? And we're gonna start with Representative Bill Galvin for this one.
As far as MCAS go, I'm not really a strong believer in the MCAS. I think a lot of students just don't test well when it comes to those type of tests, and it doesn't really reflect their intelligence. And I think the test, it was good, but I don't think they should have increased the scores that you needed to pass the MCAS. I think they were appropriate where they were, and I understand you need tests to, judge what a student may know or not know. But I'm not a strong believer in the MCAS.
Thank you. And same question, Tamisha Civil, what is your opinion of MCAS?
Well, what I can say is, as the parent council committee at my son's elementary school, Daw Elementary School, I've been able to learn a lot from, what the kids are doing and how, they get involved with the MCAS. I truly believe, and we can agree on that, Rep. Galvin, is that MCAS does not determine how smart you are in class. Now, if we need better, if the MCAS is something that will be around, then there should be some resources and proper tools so that we can help our students maintain these testings that they're doing. I'm open to it, but is it something that we can rely on? I don't think so. So I'm a firm believer that just taking a test does not tell you where you're going in life or what level that you should be in. There's a lot of students who have different learning abilities, or we have students who don't learn as the same as every other students. So, I feel like the MCAS is here, but is it something that we can rely on? There is different mechanisms that we can use as far as testing.
Thank you so much. So our next question is, with polio spreading in New York State, do you favor getting rid of the religious exemption for vaccinations for children in grades K through 12? And for this one, we're going to start with Tamisha Civil.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have you repeat it. I didn't hear.
Absolutely. No problem. With polio spreading in New York State, do you favor getting rid of the religious exemption for vaccinations for children in grades K through 12?
Ooh, that's a great question. As a mother and as a mother of a 10-year-old, I truly believe of keeping all children safe. And honestly, without disrespecting people's religious beliefs, if a child or a parent does not want their child to get vaccinated, then they should think of doing homeschooling to protect other students. So I don't think there should be an exemption, but there should be an option for parents to be able to provide another learning opportunity for their kids if they don't want them to be in the school or the class where other students is having to take the test or the exam. Excuse me, not the exam. The vaccination. I'm sorry, the vaccination. So if a parent does not want to give their child a vaccine due to their religious belief, then they should be able to think about other ways that they should keep their child safe. But I believe that all students should be vaccinated when it comes to that, to keep everyone safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Representative Bill Galvin, same question.
Well, as far as the religious exemptions go, if it's a true religious exemption, I don't have a problem with it. I think we should keep it. But it should be a true religious exemption. Also, I could reconsider my position if the pandemic was really, really bad and, necessitated something like that, then we'd have to take a look at it in those eyes. But as for now, the way the outbreak is so far, I would keep the religious exemption.
Thank you. So the next question, just going to go up in the chat, is a little long. I'm going to warn you all. So the legislature recently passed an abortion law allowing late-term abortions in the case of a lethal fetal anomaly or diagnosis, or grave fetal diagnosis that indicates the fetus is incompatible with sustaining life outside the uterus without extraordinary medical intervention. Do you agree with this language that requires a medical finding, or do you believe this decision should be left to the parents? And for this, we're going to start with Representative Bill Galvin.
The legislature, when the Supreme Court makeup was changed back in 2020, the legislature took a proactive stance, and we codified Roe versus Wade into our laws, looking at the future that the Supreme Court would then overturn Roe versus Wade. And the Supreme Court did. They did. And we passed a bill as soon as the Supreme Court did that, very soon afterwards, to protect patients and doctors from suits and recourse from other states. So Massachusetts has some of the strongest pro-choice laws, women's health care in the nation.
Okay, thank you. Same question to Tamisha Civil.
Thank you. Well, what I would say about that is reproductive health care is a right? And it's important to protect it. And it should be left to the decision of the parent, because they know what they want. They know what's best for them. And and I will ensure that we will continue to lead, in a way protecting the rights of abortion.
Thank you. So this next question is, vocational and technical high schools have long waiting lists. How should this be addressed? And we're going to start with Tamisha Civil. Robin, hold on one second. Sorry. There we go. Got it. Go.
There's a waiting list. I mean, for me, I don't really have a particular answer for that. But if there's a waiting list, it should go by, the person's address and when they applied to get on to attend the school. So I really don't have a full answer for that, but it would be depending on your location and when you applied to get into the school.
Okay. And Representative Bill Galvin, same question.
Well, I think vocational training is very important. A lot of the trades are desperate need for help, and plumbers, electricians, and construction business. And I think we should pour more resources into hiring more teachers, maybe even adding more space in some of the vocational schools. Blue Hill Regional just had a major renovation to help with that, and so they can take more students. I know it's a problem because I have calls from constituents, and they're trying to have me help them to be able to get their children into the Blue Hills, and they do have a waiting list, and it's a shame. And it's something that we need to continue to work on and pour more resources into. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Our next question is, will you treat your position as our state representative as your full-time job? And if not, why? And we're going to start with Representative Bill Galvin for this.
Well, at present, it is my full-time job. In the past, I have, worked as I said before, in the private sector. I was a co-owner of an insurance agency for over 30 years. And I'm also on the Board of Assessors in Canton for over 30 years. I'm still a member. And, I think it's important to hold those type of positions so you know what it's like to meet a payroll, to pay taxes, to, make sure your employees have their benefits and workman's comp. I mean, there's a whole host of issues that small businesses have to face. And as far as being a municipal government position, it's important to know how it works, the needs of the community. I attend every single town meeting, and I have my entire adult life. My opponent has never attended town meeting. In fact, her District 1 had over 10 vacancies for town meeting just recently, and I didn't see her run for the position. So I think it's important to be involved, and I think it helps you become a better state representative.
Okay, thank you. Same question, Tamisha Civil.
Thank you. Thank you so much. If I'm the next state representative, I will not be holding another job besides being a state rep. I think being a full-time state rep is a job within itself. You need to be available to rally with your constituents. You need to be able to go to some businesses if they have an issue. Serving people is a full-time job. It's a privilege. What I can tell you is that nothing has ever been passed down to me. And it's important to be available for people when they have issues. I've been an employee, I've worked, I've paid taxes, I've seen how other employees are treated. I see how other employees have questions. And I speak to people all the time. And to say that I have never held a position in my town, well, being in the town is a position within itself. When you can, when people know you by name, when people know who you are, and when people can call you and ask you a question, even if you're not the current state representative, that speaks volume. You have to be available at any time and any given time to be able to represent people when they're having issues in their communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is, what do you think makes you the best candidate to serve your constituents should you win? And we're going to start with Tamisha Civil.
What makes me the best candidate to represent this town, or this district rather, is that I'm here for everyone, regardless of your economic status, regardless of who you are, your religion, or what town you're from. Avon, Stoughton, and Canton is one to me. And I'm not just here to say that, oh, I put all this into one town. I'm here to represent everyone in full capacity. I've knocked over 2,000 doors by myself to speak with people, to find out what exactly is the issue that is impacting them most. And I can tell you, I'm the only candidate that has been fighting to and advocating to put a cap on the cost of prescription drugs. I'm the only advocate that's actually been able to speak with people to find out what it is that we can do to make it safer. As an associate probation officer, every case that comes into the 6th Norfolk district comes across my desk. I know the issues that we're facing. I know what people need and want, and unfortunately, my rep wouldn't know that because he's been in office for 30 plus years, and some people don't know his name. And this is the things that I've learned throughout my door knocking. And we need someone who's going to be an active leader to represent 6th Norfolk District in full capacity, not when election time comes in. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Representative Bill Galvin, same question.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Absolutely. What do you think makes you the best candidate to serve your constituents should you win?
Well, I think my experience, my knowledge of the district. I've grown up in the district my entire life. I didn't move into the district 10 years ago. I've always voted in every single election. I didn't just start voting like 2 years ago, like my opponent. But to be in an effective state rep, you have to be available. You have to be able to listen, and you have to serve your constituents. Constituents services is probably the most important aspect of the job. Over the last few years with the pandemic, I've dealt with many constituents with a lot of problems. Unemployment insurance, health insurance, medical health, mental health. You run the gamut, and I've been there for them. I've helped them, and I will continue to help them. That is one of the most important aspects of the job, and I know how to do it. I know how to get it done, and I will continue to do that, and I will continue to advocate for all my towns. And I am in all my towns, and I can communicate well with all the officials in my towns. You can ask any one of them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Do I have time to rebuttal?
No, and so you can do it in your closing.
Thank you so much.
Sure, of course, absolutely. So next question is, what are your views on improving MBTA service to Stoughton, both journey times and frequency? And what do you see as the major obstacles to making these improvements? If elected, how would you work to make the changes a reality? And we're going to start with Representative Bill Galvin for this.
Well, we all know what the problems that T have had lately. And there've been a lot of issues. And the federal government came in, they did a report and found that there's a lot of deficiencies. And you can see what's happening with the orange line right now. and they had to shut that whole line down to do the repairs. And they haven't had that will over the years to shut down an entire line. And that has been the problem. They've been focused on having new routes like to Fall River and into other areas, and not concentrating on maintenance. I have been on them for the last 20 years about maintenance. And I think now there's a will. They have the federal authorities on them, the oversight, and I think things will eventually get better, but we have to put money and resources, and we have to have the will to do what's necessary to make the T a more efficient operation. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to Tamisha Civil.
Thank you.
Let me just get the clock reset. Hold on one sec. Okay, we should be good. Okay, go ahead.
Well, as someone who is married to a Green Line conductor, I'm committing to making the public transportation more reliable, accessible, and safe. Unfortunately, our current lack of leadership has led us to the point where we are today, constantly late, derailing, fire, all three at once, simply unacceptable. My top two priorities would be, first, we need to pass the fair share amendment, okay? No new fare hikes. I will vote against any effort to raise any fares, increase in fares for passengers, because I believe we are already asking a lot from passengers who are routinely who's experiencing unacceptable delays where they have to go to work and failures, and increasing funding for public transportation. And finally, to make comprehensive repairs and improve and make the improvements that we need through the Fair Share Amendment, like I stated before. The Fair Share Amendment would increase 4% tax on a portion of a person's annual income of $1 million. And that's dedicated to raise, that's dedicated for the funds to raise money for the transportation and education. Since my opponent has been in insurance business, I'm pretty sure he has enough money, but he wouldn't want to be taxed an additional 4% to help fix the transportation system and provide money for education. So we need to work on that.
Thank you. Okay, our next question is, what issues are before the House or due to come up for vote soon that you believe are most important to your constituents? And this goes to Tamisha Civil.
Well, as I stated, I've been doing a lot of door knocking. As you can see, I'm tanned. I've met a lot of people. Some people think I'm a Jehovah's Witness, but I'm not. We need to laugh about that. But I've been able to meet some wonderful people. And I can tell you one of the most important thing is people are looking to be heard. And putting a cap on the cost of prescription drugs is one of them. 15 states have already passed it. The Massachusetts Senate bill passed it, but the House let it die. And we really need to do something about that, because I have a personal experience and I'm relatable to people with the issues that they go. I had an emergency scare a couple of years ago where my husband didn't even want to call the ambulance to pick him up because he was afraid of the cost of an ambulance would come and pick him up. And these are the things that people have to do. They have to think about how much it's going to cost them before they actually take care of themselves. So we need to start putting people before corporate. And that's why I am fighting to put the cap on the cost of prescription drugs. And I am the only candidate that is fighting to put a cap on the cost. And it's doable. 15 states already have. And the president just passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which is something that they're trying to do as well. So that is one of the things that I'm looking to do in the House. Let that bill die.
Thank you. Okay, Representative Bill Galvin.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Absolutely. What issues are before the House or due to come up for vote soon that you believe are most important to your constituents?
Well, we still have the economic bond bill pending, which was the ARPA 2 bill, which got derailed when the 1986 law came into light, when the governor, a week before the end of the session, told us about the possibility of us having to give back another $3 billion, possibly. The auditor is supposed to give us their report by the end of September. So I think that's pending, and I would like the legislature to go back in and pass what we have looked at. There's a bond authorization for $5 million for the redevelopment of the Stoughton Center, and I have $100,000 for the Stoughton Food Bank in there for bonding. So I would like us to go back in. I think those are pending. We're still in session until the first Tuesday in January. And I think that's very important that we can get that done. I mean, you can't cap prescription drugs. It has been gone to court. It's intercommerce. You can't do it as a state. And the Senate bill didn't cap it. They capped co-payments, and it only affected insulin. So, I mean, it would be nice to do, but I think if something like that has to happen, it has to be done by the federal government, not a state.
Thank you. So we do have a couple of additional questions. The first one is, Massachusetts enacted a law in 2018 requiring civics education with a specific requirement for high school and districts serving 8th grade students to provide at least one student-led nonpartisan project for each student. What can be done to ensure that the schools are successful in providing this civic education to students? And we are going to start with Representative Bill Galvin for this.
Well, it comes down to oversight, and the administration and Department of Ed will be responsible, and they have to stay on top of it and make sure that that happens, because that's been part of our laws, and we should respect them. And as far as the legislature goes, we should make sure that we supply an ample amount of monies or whatever is needed to enhance that. Thank you.
Thank you. Tamisha Civil, same question.
I think collaboration is the key. We need to collaborate with the Department of Education, making sure that everyone is following protocol and that the civic education is being taught in school. And we provide resources and access to these schools to make sure that they're doing what they need to do to teach our 8th graders about that. So that's what I would say.
Excellent. Thank you. One more question. The pandemic highlighted inequity quite substantially with respect to internet access for residents. How would you seek to address that infrastructure issue moving forward? And we're going to start with, Tamisha Civil.
Well, as a parent, as a mom of a 10-year-old, I know what it's like to, when the pandemic hit, what it was like to just sit for a couple of hours and help my son learn. Just like many other parents who have to stay home and teach their children. And it's important to have access to internet. And it's important for us to collaborate where we can be able to collaborate with service companies to make sure that internet service is available for every parent in the town. We need to make sure that it's available and that we're collaborating with the schools to make sure that there's internet service and that each town is getting the same amount of resources and funding to make sure that we're meeting the needs of parents when it comes to serving their children, when it comes to education, and whether it's educating at home, school, homeschooling, and any other type of resources that we rely to help our children learn academically on using internet services.
Thank you. Representative Bill Galvin, same question.
Every child in the Commonwealth should have the access to the internet. I mean, access to the internet is just so important. A reliable product is what's necessary. And over the last few years, there have been a push to enhance the internet service across the state. On the East Coast here, where we are in Massachusetts, we do have a very good network. But out west, it isn't in the rural part of the state. The infrastructure is just not there. So we have to work with the internet companies, and which we have been, and to increase that ability so that every student has an access, and every person in the Commonwealth, not just students. Everyone should have access to the internet and a reliable internet. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are going to move to closing remarks. These are 2 minutes each, and we are going to start with Representative Bill Galvin.
Yes.
Just
I
making
asked
the
for your
clock
vote.
is- Wait one sec, just want to make sure. There we go. Go ahead.
I asked for your vote on September 6th, which is the Tuesday after Labor Day. I've worked very hard for the district. I want to continue to work very hard for the district. You know, in this campaign, you've heard about the issue of transparency, and I have said over and over that I have been a very transparent representative. Now, my opponent, on the other hand, has put graphics on the website that she is running for re-election to state rep, that she has the endorsement of SEIU NAGE. She has put that symbol in her endorsement on her literature, where in actuality, it's just a division of the court citizens or probation and assistant probation officers. Executive committee is, none of them are from our district, and none of them are actually from Norfolk County. So I do believe transparency counts, and I don't think my opponent has been very transparent. She knows how to verbalize it, she just doesn't know how to follow it. And as far as the district, I know the district, I work hard in the district. I think communication is one of the biggest assets. I think we communicate well with all the officials, and I want to continue to do that. And as I said before, constituent services are so important, and I want to help and take care of my constituents in the district. And if you will, and give me your vote on September 6th, I will continue to do those. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Tamisha Civil, your closing remarks.
Thank you so much. I have nothing against Rep. Galvin personally. He's a nice guy. However, I believe after 31 years, it's time for change. Healthcare is getting expensive. Climate change is getting worse. Housing is getting unaffordable for many, and we need fresh, new, bold ideas. When it comes to policy, there are some differences. I support universal health care. He has not co-sponsored Medicare for all. I'm looking to support putting the cap on the cost of prescription drugs. He's failed to act on that issue. I support more transparency for the State House, as he repeatedly voted against transparency. I'm not looking to just fix the root of the problem. I'm looking to fix the problem that affects our district, which is why I'm running. After speaking to people in the community and experiencing the same issues myself, I'm ready to be the voice of the district and lead and listen to people in the community. Now, it speaks volume. I'm an associate probation officer for Mass Probation Services. They decide to endorse me, and that is their logo, and that is their permission. I mean, I don't know what kind of investigation you're doing, Rep. Galvin, but it's not, it's wrong. I signed the transparency pledge. This transparency pledge is to allow committee votes to be public, and you repeatedly voted no on that. You sent a mailer, and I was one of the people you sent it to. You, a few weeks ago on the mailer, you said that you were supposedly bringing back money for Stoughton, and you weren't honest. You ran with it silently. You said you were going to give $5 million for redeveloping downtown Stoughton, something desperately Stoughton needs. But you never told people that that money that you were claiming on your mailer.
Ms. Civil,
wasn't coming.
Tamisha, I'm sorry, we're
And I'm
time is up.
asking for everyone's vote September 6th. Thank you.
Thank you. In closing, I'd like to thank both our candidates for their willingness to participate. To the voters, please remember to vote on Tuesday, September 6th at your district polling place. Early voting has begun at Stoughton Town Hall. There will be a graphic that's going to go up in a moment that will show you all the early voting information, or you can check lwvss.org or contact the town clerk's office or website. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Sharon Stoughton, we thank you all for attending and want to encourage you to join our league. We have exciting plans for this year in addition to voter forums. We welcome everyone, regardless of gender, and young adults aged 16 to 26 can join at no cost. Please visit lwvss.org to check us out. Thanks to Rob Rotella at Stoughton TV and to all who have provided their help in putting together this forum. Have a good night, and most importantly, please remember to vote. Thank you.
Thank you.